Hi, welcome to the 5-Minute Proxy. I'm Bill Oakes with Blue Coat Solutions Marketing, and today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Office. Microsoft is the market leader in supplying basic business productivity applications such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook, and a host of supporting applications depending on which version you have. Office usually runs on a local workstation with users accessing their data locally or across the network for shared information. That's the data access method we're going to be discussing today. Microsoft uses three protocols as their primary communication across a network when a client wants to access Office data. MAPI, used by Outlook, MMS, used by Windows Media, and SIFT, used by all other Microsoft Office applications. All of these protocols were designed for local area networking. Local users access shared Office files over a local area network and can perform typical operations in less than 2 seconds. On the other hand, remote users, whether traveling or in branch offices, access shared Office files located back at corporate headquarters over a wide area network. WANs have a higher latency and less bandwidth than LANs, and latency is the #1 issue that reduces response time. Now, couple that with the three protocols used by Office not being latency friendly, and the end result, for those remote users out in the branch office, data transfers and normal tasks are slow. For instance, for a user at the branch, over a pretty typical WAN scenario, downloading a 6 megabyte Word document can take 45 seconds, and a subsequent save, another 45 seconds. And downloading a 29 megabyte training video can take 5 minutes. And this is assuming a wide open WAN. Results will be even more degraded if the WAN is being used for other activities, which is very, very likely. Now, Blue Coat has been working with Microsoft for almost a decade to optimize Microsoft products. With Office, Blue Coat has worked extensively with the CIFS and MAPI protocols to accelerate them across the WAN. So, by placing a ProxySG at the branch and back at corporate, what a ProxySG does is utilize 5 unique technologies that provide acceleration for Microsoft Office: object caching, byte caching, compression, bandwidth management, and protocol optimization. Let's take a look at what each of these does and what they really mean to your company. With object caching, what we do is we intercept the client request at the local proxy, in this case, at the branch. The first request will go across the WAN and out to the shared Microsoft Office file repository to complete the request for data. Any subsequent requests for that same data will be served locally. That gives us 100% acceleration as no data is actually going across the WAN. With byte caching, what happens is pretty straightforward. ProxySG examines common patterns in the data stream it's receiving. What we'll do is we'll pull out common patterns and put in short references instead. We then pass those references over the WAN to the receiving ProxySG, which then converts the references back to data patterns. The end result? Incredible bandwidth savings. With compression, we use industry standard algorithms to compress all traffic between the two ProxySGs. This removes predictable white space from content and objects being transmitted, once again saving bandwidth. With bandwidth management, we're going to prioritize, limit, or allocate bandwidth based on user or application. We can divide traffic into classes and then guarantee priority and minimum or maximum bandwidth based on business priorities. This even works with SSL and works with your packet shaper or other quality of service appliance if you have one. In this case, first we have a sales guy. He's placing an order in the sales system. Now, most companies are going to consider that a reasonably high priority for usage on the WAN. So we'll make sure they have minimum guaranteed bandwidth, and we're going to put a cap on just how much they can have just to make sure they don't take up the whole WAN. A second salesperson comes along and wants to update the spreadsheet sitting back at corporate containing this quarter's sales information. Well, that's kind of important, although not nearly as important as making the sale itself, right? So we'll give a guaranteed bandwidth and put a smaller cap on it. Along comes a non-sales manager who, for whatever reason, is sitting at the branch and wants to take a look at the huge PowerPoint deck containing last year's Board of Directors presentation. Well, that is important information, but not something we want clogging up our WAN. So we're going to say no, and we're going to block the request until the manager is back at corporate. And finally, we've got a marketing guy out there in the branch working on next quarter's marketing activities in a shared Word document. While important, hey, it's just a marketing guy. If he has to wait a bit while sales orders fill up the WAN, so be it. So we'll set an even lower priority, not guarantee a minimum bandwidth, and put a cap on what he does get. So with this level of control, you can ensure that your company's WAN bandwidth is completely aligned to your business needs. With protocol optimization, we've done a couple of things for Microsoft Office that really optimize performance. First, the 3 protocols used between users and Office files, MAPI for Outlook, MMS for video, CIFS for everything else, are somewhat chatty, and for every packet sent, either a request or a response, it expects an answer before sending the next packet. So what ProxySG does is give the user that response without bothering the server. Likewise on the other end. This has a dramatic impact on latency, as you can see. Second, rather than sending the packets one at a time, Blue Coat will put a bunch of them together in the link between the 2 ProxySGs. This again reduces latency, and that means the data transfer time is 10 to 100 times faster over the WAN. So at the end of the day, what does that really mean? Well, here's how those 5 technologies tie together for you. Here we have a typical use case, online review of a Word document, in this case 6 megabyte. This WAN is pretty typical, a T1 line back to corporate. Latency is also a typical 100 millisecond round trip. So the normal time to open or save this file is 45 seconds across the WAN, as we mentioned before. With Blue Coat Cold, now that's the first time you ask for the file, it's 12 seconds. That's what byte caching, compression, and protocol optimization do for you. The warm, that's any subsequent request, is 2 seconds. That's almost a 25 times improvement, and that's what object caching does for you. And what about bandwidth? Well, bandwidth used without ProxySG, 13.3 megabytes. Bandwidth used with ProxySG, 0.85 megabytes. That's a 95% reduction. So in summary, Microsoft Office is the dominant business productivity application suite for companies such as yours. However, accessing shared Microsoft Office data can be quite painful for branch office or remote users. Using Blue Coat's unique WAN optimization algorithms, ProxySG offers substantial improvement for Microsoft Office users, 10 to 100 times faster. So, for more information on Microsoft Office and Blue Coat, visit us at www.bluecoat.com. Thanks for taking 5 minutes from your schedule to listen to this presentation, and stay tuned for the next 5-Minute Proxy.